actor Viva Lee, and you're listening to the Oh Brother podcast. You know, I'm the actor. I like going with the flow. Doing multiple takes and really perfecting the scene is also very enjoyable too.
Now, do you have a Disney pass?
I don't know. It's up to my mom. She got the credit card.
So we're going to welcome to the Oh Brother podcast, Miss Viva Lee.
Hi, Viva.
Hi.
How are you doing?
You,
I'm doing good.
Great.
You're doing more than good by all accounts. It seems like you're doing fantastic from everything that we see. Thanks for giving us some of your time to be on the podcast. We appreciate it. And this is I don't think Mike knows this, but you shared with me, this is your first podcast?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. No, it's our pleasure to have you.
Now, the deal is when you win your first Academy Award, you have to thank us. After that, you can forget about us. But the first one.
Never. She says never. And as you know, we talked to Miss KC, and you said you had watched, I think you had listened or watched that episode of the show, and she was fantastic. So right up front, of course, congratulations on Polaris.
Thank you.
You were just fantastic. I had a question I want to ask you up front before we get into that is, you're still very, very young, of course, but are you afraid of being typecast as a bear? You know, we've got this now where you're raised by a polar bear. You've got this Nickelodeon, right, with Bossy Bear.
Bossy Bear.
So I have my little Christmas bear, my little Santa bear.
But did you realize when you were 11 and you're working on this film, which we'll talk about how you got the role, but you were carrying the film. You weren't just cast in it. It was you.
It was pretty crazy. I didn't think there was opportunities out there for girls like me. And then when I got it, I was just so shocked. I didn't think I was gonna get the role, but I got it, and it was just so extraordinary to work on. And I was so proud and excited. That's all I really could think of, how proud I was and how much fun I had working on the film.
You're in California now, right?
For now, yeah. I'm here for Bossy Bear.
Okay, and Cindy Bear. Let's not forget her.
Oh yeah, everyone forgets about her. Thank you so much.
But you were living in Canada, right, during the filming of this?
I am Canadian.
Yeah, so you raised there, and Mike and I have some roots, as we talked to KC about, in the Nova Scotia area, although neither of us have been there for...
I have.
No, I mean for years. We haven't been there
for a long time.
Many years. So how long have you been in LA now?
I want to say around a year.
Oh, wow, just a short period of time. And so previous to that, were you still in Canada then?
I've been going back and forth for a while, just like a little bit, just to like feel the area out and stuff. And yet I still don't know like any street names or cities. Like I'm still like, everyone's like, oh, I'm from here. I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those places where nobody is really from there. You know, it's like I live in Florida and everybody that lives here is from somewhere else. It's a very kind of transient sort of place, you know. What's your assessment of it in the short time that you've been there as compared to kind of where you grew up?
I love it personally, and I love the weather. And I love it, but I will never forget my Canadian roots. I love Canada so much, and I often feel very nostalgic. It's actually been quite rainy here recently, and it takes me back to Canada, my days walking to school with my brother.
Yeah.
Now so how many siblings do you have?
I have one older brother. He is 20. He's in film school right now, actually. And
nice.
I haven't been getting that much sleep recently, so if I'm a bit weird and laggy, that's why, because I'm helping him with a short film right now. So yeah.
Well, Mike and I will use that same excuse. We'll just chalk it up to being, but yeah, because I've seen that on your social media where you guys were, so you're working on a short film is what it is.
I had said to KC, I said, Viva's like a quadruple threat. Did you know what I meant by that?
I heard that, and I was very appreciative.
Yeah,
And
because
I don't
you know,
know, a quadruple threat.
well, it's common that if you can act, sing, and dance, you're a triple threat. But you're producing already, right? You're writing, you're acting. Is there anything you don't do? Are you the grip too?
My brother takes care of that because he's 6'3".
Okay.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, it is. It's amazing when you look. You can just look at your IMDb profile and all of the things that you've got.
Well, I mean, I don't like to take too much credit for everything, but I am very proud of the things I have done.
Going back to growing up in Canada, and I'm in Boston right now, and this is where I grew up, but I lived in California for 25, 26 years in San Diego, and didn't miss snow, didn't miss, I liked the weather. It was perfect. In this movie Polaris, you're diving in snow, that's got to be miserable as an actor. How did you handle the weather?
I'm not
Different animal.
Yeah. Most of the places I lived in were more like rainy than like super snowy.
Mhm.
But I just really found myself getting really deep into my character. So like
Mhm.
Sumi wouldn't care about how cold it was. She is the cold,
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point too, because your character Sumi's got such a connection to the environment around her. I mean, being raised in that those elements and that type of location. Now, was all of that shot on location? Was there any of that was filmed on set, or that was all on location?
Almost all of it was on location except stuff like the water scene and stuff that like had to be like in a warehouse. But
Right.
everything you see is almost all on location. And speaking about the cold part, also it was so beautiful and wonderful there that the cold didn't bother me as much because the snow was so powdery and the wind picked up. It like flew into the sky and it was so glittery. So like I didn't care that much because I was like, ooh, ah.
It is, it's beautiful. And I guess you just before you filmed, you got like a couple of feet of snow. So it was nice, fresh snow. Now, KC told us she didn't do a lot of takes. That's kind of her style. Do you prefer that, or do you like rehearsing a lot?
I like both personally. I love working with different directors and all their different styles. I'm the actor. I like going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And doing few takes is fun because it's spontaneous, but also doing multiple takes and really perfecting the scene is also very enjoyable to really carve out the character. So, it really depends on the film and the character.
Yeah.
Now, what about you? You were on a series that done by the Russo brothers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was awesome. It was called Deadly Class. I played Nia Lynn, who was Headmaster Lynn's daughter, secret daughter. Scandal. I love Mr. Benedict with all my heart, and he taught me such amazing things. And yeah, it was pretty exciting and awesome. And actually, that's how I kind of, I guess, got into stunts, and I fell in love with acting on that set. So, big things.
Oh,
and
really?
you knew right then, like, I think I read an interview where you said your mother thought acting wouldn't be good for you. And you would, because of the crying and the emotion, and she gets emotional watching you. So what did you say to her to convince her that this is what I'm going to do?
She never wanted me to do acting, really. But my brother did like some theater, and I was like, I want to do that. Long story short, she let me do background and stuff to see if I liked it, and then yada yada, I got my first role. And it was all crying almost every single day, many hours of crying. And she was like, I'm not going to let you do this anymore. Like, this was crazy. Like, I cannot see you crying. This is so emotionally damaging. We were in our car and I was so tired. I put the seat all the way back because I was lying down because it was late at night. It's like 2 a.m. or something. And she was like, I'm not gonna let you do this again. Look at yourself. And I was like, I looked at her with like starry eyes. I was like, Mommy, I love this. This is what I want to do forever. And I was like still crying. And my breath was still like super shaky because I was crying for many hours. And I was like, Mom, this is what I love. And I want to do this for the rest of my life.
People don't realize how difficult that is to cry on cue. Okay, take, cry. Your body doesn't know you're faking. Your body's still reacting the same way. So I think what you're talking about is that exhaustion comes from your body saying, hey, we're not supposed to cry this much,
Yeah, of course. And that can be very tolling on your body and on your mind. So
Yeah.
I do lots of mindfulness exercises. And I do these things where when I go into the scene, I tell myself I'm safe. This is a character. This is a role. I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to play around. I enjoy this. And then when I leave the scene or when I'm done filming, I tell myself you're safe. You're out of that character that is acting, that is separate from your personal life, and really separate that. And so my heart and brain can kind of acknowledge that, oh, those are two different things. That's faking.
Yeah. So are you still currently or actively studying the craft?
Yeah, I like to learn. Like, I love to just keep learning and growing my craft, growing everything I do. I guess that's why I do lots of things. I just love learning.
Mm-hmm.
And everything I do, I'm learning as I go. I don't know everything, so yeah, I'm still learning.
Well, it's fascinating when you watch your performance in Polaris to sort of think of how young you are at that time, and still are, of course, but to be able to emote and I when I was talking to KC, you may remember I talked about that one scene where you come upon that section of the forest or whatever that's just been cleared and decimated, and so how are you tapping into that emotional place before you're doing a scene like that?
It depends on the scene, but personally for me, that scene especially, it was heartbreaking to see those trees chopped down and to see
we talked about that.
like the emptiness of the landscape. Like, that was truly like devastating to see because I wasn't on set and when they were setting it up, and then I saw it and I was like, wow, that looks really real. That's so heartbreaking to see these lives just taken. So that scene wasn't very hard when it came to the action. Yeah, but it depends. Some scenes, like, I don't connect as much with what's happening to my character, but I always find a way to connect it to myself or really get into that character and feel like, oh, like, for example, like, oh, my dad died or something, like, really get and imagine what heartbreak that would feel like.
Well, we mentioned the other series with Benedict Wong. How approachable was he? Like, did you get any tips from him? Because he started when he was young.
He was incredible. He would give me some of the best advice that I still hold dear to my heart. He was awesome, and I was kind of starstruck. I was like, oh my god. I was awkward in the beginning, but he was so kind, and I loved working with him.
And then in Polaris, you had Muriel who played Dee, right? You couldn't talk to each other because you didn't share the same language. But you could see the genuine affection between you and her. Not at first, but when she started playing the harmonica, we brought this up with KC, you instantly were attracted to that. And how was it working with Muriel? Because she's been acting for a while as well.
She was so sweet, and I loved, like, she just had such a beautiful and powerful energy that I just loved being around her, and filming scenes with her were so so amazing to be with such a skilled actor, such a skilled artist. So I loved working with her. Her scenes, like, those are some of my favorite ones that I got to film.
And then you have to react. What does she call them? The Marauders?
The Morads.
Yeah, the Morads. They attack her. And were you watching that, or did they take you off set? Because it gets pretty graphic.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch that scene so bad, and I think I was told that I was going to be able to and stuff, but then like the timing didn't match up. But I like gory stuff, and I like stuff, and like I like doodling like some gory stuff, and like I've tried doing like fake SFX stuff on my legs and stuff, but yada yada yada.
Well, that's one of the things that's on your social, right? I don't know if it's on your YouTube or where I saw it. With you're like chained to a bed, and oh my god! And next thing you know, there's like a corpse on the ground, and you're all bloodied, and so yeah, clearly you don't shy away from that genre. Mike and I just finished doing about a month and a half of nothing but horror and Halloween related episodes. We went to a convention that was all horror themed. There were, like the actor that plays Freddy Krueger and people like that were there. It was just
oh my god, that is incredible.
it's intense. Where did you get your interest in that? Where does that come from?
To be honest, I have no idea. I've always loved it. My mom's always been slightly concerned, but I've always been very safe about it because I didn't want to like traumatize my little brain. So I've always like gone on like Parents Guide and Common Sense Media, and like, oh, is this appropriate? But I've always been able to like handle stuff like that.
And you like doing stunts, whacking people with 2x4s, stuff like that.
I love stunts so much, and I actually I want to be a stunt actor, and I want to do more action films, an action series. I love stunts so much. I was so fortunate to be able to do lots of the stunt work, and I had so much fun. Like, there's nothing so freeing than like throwing yourself off of a snowy cliff, okay? Like, it's so much fun. You need to try this out.
That scene you're talking about where you jump and you can see the snow kind of falling on top of you. And I was like, how did they film that? They wouldn't have let an 11-year-old do that stunt.
I also had an amazing stunt double. Okay, so I mean, some of it isn't illegal. Some of it's illegal for me to do.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't do illegal stuff. We're not getting Polaris in trouble, okay?
No. Well, was there one thing? What can you think of? One thing in particular that you really wanted to do when it, that would have involved that kind of physicality, but you weren't able to? What was one of those things?
Getting dragged by a snowmobile. I didn't legally get to do that, but I wanted to so badly. Well, I did do a few things similar too, so we could get the scenes. I did like a dead man's pull, I think it was called, where I like laid there and like pretended I was pulling myself up, and they took an industrial sized windblower and they blew ice and snow in my face. That was similar and very snowy, pretty cold, I'd say. It was a little cold.
Yeah,
and then
just a bit.
I got dragged by people. Like, people dragged me on a rope, and one of the stunt coordinators was like, Viva, this is your chance. This is the closest you're gonna get to do this. And like, they got two guys to like pull me out of frame.
Now, what about schooling? Are you homeschooled, or how does that work?
I am right now. I love school personally. I've always liked school. I'm homeschooled right now at the moment for because it's been really busy and stuff. But on Polaris, actually, I had an incredible tutor. Her name was Miss Fran, and I love her. And if you're watching this, I love you. And because it was so cold and like it was impossible, you have to, if you're underage, to have a tutor and do school in between scenes.
Right.
It was so cold, like it was impossible. So I I actually did my schooling on Sundays or Saturdays or something like that because it was impossible to get out of so many layers of icy, snowy soppiness.
Yeah. And now what about friends now that you're in California? What about your friends from Canada? How do you stay in touch?
Well, I mean, phones are great.
Yeah.
Discord, Snapchat, etc. FaceTime. We talk, we play video games and stuff like online, like Minecraft and stuff. Also, I'm very fortunate. A lot of my friends are actors.
Okay.
So they go through like similar stuff. We understand each other, and a lot of us are really busy, so we don't get to see each other that much. But when we do, and also some of them like visit LA and stuff. When we do, we go to like amusement parks, or we like hang out in my house, or like we get to chill sometimes.
Yeah.
Now you do have a Disney pass?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, interesting.
I don't know. It's up to my mom. She got the credit card.
She's like, you're the one that just won Best Actress in Polaris. What are you talking about?
It's in the Coogan account, okay?
What did your friends think of that when you won these awards and were getting all this recognition? And any of them jealous, or
Most of my friends are also doing really well themselves, so like we were all had like a pretty mutual agreement of like, oh, like I'm proud of you, you're proud of me. Like we were just nice. Like we just felt good for each other,
That's nice. That's how it should be. It kind of is a nice transition into talking about again, if you just kind of go out on your socials and this organization, Direct Impact, is it direct or Direct Impact Mentors, or
it's this thing that I put together because just representation for the AAPI community is so minuscule, and you're not seeing faces like yourself out there, and young kids are growing up and they're like, they only see, blonde hair, blue-eyed girls and boys, and they feel excluded. So I wanted to, share some good stories, some news, some excitement, and part of our community. So youth and young kids can see that and, feel proud and know like, hey, I can do that too if I wanted to.
And it's your generation now that needs to change the game, so to speak, which it is changing. And we're seeing more diversity, but not enough. So, how do you go about, grassroots effort, getting, people to cast you and, I can play this part.
People are, starting to cast more diverse, but it's always the sidekick. It's always the side characters to the white blonde lead, you know?
Right.
And, that's also horrible in itself because that's only perpetuating the cycle of, oh, I can only be good enough to be the sidekick to that story. And it's not enough. And there's so many people out there trying to make it better. And that's all we can do. Try and fight.
Yeah. And it's people like you that, have the talent that can really stand out, make a difference, which is nice.
Now, who have been some of your biggest inspirations in, either in film or just kind of, sort of any walk of life?
My mom.
Good answer.
My mom will always be I love her so much. Oh my God, she's gonna hate me for saying that.
Is she with you or is she in Canada?
She is somewhere. I think she's taking a meeting or something right now.
Okay.
She's trying to get you cast in the next feature film, right?
Nah, she's not a stage parent or a mom at all. Yeah, she kind of leaves that to me and stuff. She's not micromanaging my career. She's not like, oh my God, you need to get this next role. If you don't, no pixie sticks.
Right. Now let me cut your hair. Come here. None of that.
No.
Well, you seem like such an old soul at such a young age. And if you look, I came across this picture on, I don't know if it's your Instagram or something, where you were dressed up like Prince.
That was my Halloween costume this year.
That was amazing. And I just what kind of music do you listen to? Do you have an affinity for some older music like in the 80s and things like that, or do you like everything, or the things you don't like?
I love a lot of things. My music taste is pretty widespread. I'm really into rock.
Okay.
I'm really into like new wave, dark wave bands like Joy Division, Susie and the Banshees, The Cure, Bauhaus,
Wow.
stuff like that. So I guess you could call me goth if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Technically, it is. Goth is a music-based subgenre. Okay. I also love metal. I love black metal, which is hard to find good black metal that isn't racist.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Stay away from that side of stuff.
You play the piano, right?
No,
It's
not.
guitar,
okay.
right? You play guitar.
I play guitar.
And, yeah, and now you rap. You're rapping as well.
Yeah, I rap. I love to write my own raps.
So what about when you're picking up the guitar? Are you trying to write the next rock tune, or what comes out of you when you're writing and performing on the guitar?
I just love to mess around, feel like what comes naturally to me. Sometimes I feel inspired by something specific and I try to build around that. It really depends on my mood. I do it for fun, you know? It's not like, oh my God, this is gonna be my big break.
So now what have you got coming up for upcoming projects? What are you working on now, or what's coming up down the road here for you?
Well, I don't know what I can and cannot talk about at the moment.
Right. That's what one of the
Right.
things we said. In fact, he scolded me because I was going to ask you about a specific project.
Is the
but
strike?
I won't.
Is that got anything to do with the strike,
Well,
or
Project it is.
Which one?
What
Can
are
you
you
tell?
talking about?
I'm talking about Ribbon Air. Can you talk about that, or?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. What about Max and the Midnights? Can you talk about Max and the Midnights?
I don't fully understand
Think
what's
so.
happening and stuff. So no.
Okay.
No, I can't.
Okay. Is there anything that you can talk about?
Yeah. What are you working on?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
That's fine. I don't think I can talk about anything right now.
Well,
See, you seem to be such a polite.
Bossy Bear, watch it now.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
And Cindy
yes.
Bear, don't forget Cindy Bear.
now,
Oh no, Cindy, your train broke.
Love Cindy Bear so much. She's so cute. And she reminds me of my dog. I'm not gonna lie.
well, and that's the beautiful thing about that is kind of, as I've seen you talk about, is the message behind it, right? And being different is okay, and kind of embracing your uniqueness and all of this sort of stuff. And now it's got is it like a 20 episode run or something? It's
No, it's still going. It's just I think
right.
the strike and stuff. It couldn't come out. I don't remember. Was it?
Yeah, because I think there's already like 18 or so episodes that are out there.
There's a lot more to come. I think it was 30.
Wow. Okay.
There's
And what
30.
about Deadly Class? Now, was that just a 1 year thing, or the strike maybe?
No, that happened way before the strike.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
2018 or 2019, right?
Yeah.
And it was such a cool idea. I'm surprised it didn't, or maybe it ran right into the pandemic or something. I don't know if you know.
I think it was like funding or something.
Oh, okay.
Fans were like so angry when that happened. I mean, I was too, but like nothing you can do about it.
No.
I mean, it'd be awesome if there was like a sequel or something. If someone wrote it, I would jump on probably. If it's based around Nyland, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
For sure.
Now, you're listed on a couple of your credits as producer. So what do you do as a producer?
Well, it's mostly like my brother's stuff.
Mhm.
I help him with that. He's a film student and he makes a lot of short films with me in it. He always, because he has like no one to act for him, he chooses me because obviously award-winning actor, yada yada yada. He always does this whole spiel.
There you go.
He always writes around me. And like around our house usually as well. Like he's like,
Right.
oh, we gotta do this in our house so we can like use this place. And he's always writing around me. I'm like, can't you have friends? You make them do it. So,
But they're not award-winning actors, is what he does, right?
100%, of course.
He keeps going back to that.
He doesn't even pay me. Am I
Well,
working for him or is he working for me?
You're going to have to
Right.
renegotiate that deal. Now that the strike's over, I think you're going to have to get that in the contract, right?
I'm going on strike now against him.
Now, listen, you know, because you've seen an episode of the podcast, so you know, or you should know, something that we're going to ask you, which is we want to know, what are your top 5 films? What are your top 5 favorite films?
Okay. These aren't in any particular order, but
Okay.
RRR was incredible. I don't know if you know RRR. It was Chef's Kiss. Black Swan, Leon the Professional. I just love Natalie Portman. I'm not gonna lie.
I was going to say, Leon the Professional is a great film. Yeah. All right. So that's 3.
3.
Okay. Train to Busan, I'd say maybe.
Oh, that's in my collection.
Yeah.
I like Train to Busan. It was cool.
I don't think, Mike, you've seen Train to
No, I
Busan.
haven't.
That's a great film. That's a
You
good
need
film.
to watch
Check.
it.
I will.
Good film.
I thought I'd have more horror on this list. Surprisingly not. But I'd say this actually might be my number 1 favorite film. It is super underrated. It's called Osem. It's a Korean animated film. It's so beautiful. And like, I never cry when I watch films usually, except one time when I watched the opening for my film, I cried, which was like super unexpected. I didn't think I expected it, but I did. I was like, okay. But I usually like don't get super emotional. Like I feel it 100%, but like I don't cry. But I cried during this film. I cried during Osem, and it is beautiful, and it is messed up, and I love it. So.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah, some
Now-
good ones there.
Behind me, I have a poster of E.T., and that was because KC had said that was one of her favorite films. So that's why I put that up there when we had you coming on. So
That
Have you
is
seen-
awesome.
Have you seen E.T.?
Oh, of course.
Okay, I was going to say. Viva Lee, I mean, talk about just a quintessential artist. You've got so much going on, talented in so many areas, and you're just getting started. That's the
yeah, you
crazy
got to let
thing.
us
It's
know when
amazing.
you have new projects that you can talk about so we can promote them for you. And
Aw, thank you.
And of course, you should be proud of Polaris. It's been
fantastic.
obviously very well received. I looked; it was like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I'm like, this thing's fresh as it gets.
Now
Yeah.
we watched the version, and this kind of surprised KC a little bit, where they started with storyboards. Have you seen that version?
I heard about it on the podcast, and I was like, "What? What is this? Do I know about this? Have I forgotten? Like, what? This sounds incredible!" And no, I have not seen that.
Oh, okay, because it tells a lot of story in a short period of time, and you're kind of featured in the screenshot, so it was really good.
Yeah, you got to get a copy of that from Miss KC.
Yeah.
I would love to know what that's about. Oh my! Learning about the harmonica, the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star from
Right.
Yes.
was shocking. Shocked me to the core. I've known this film for years, and I heard that I was like, "What?
Well, did they
How did that fly over my head?"
I know. And how did they tell you about losing an eye? Did you have background for that?
Not
Because
really.
that's told in the storyboards.
Right.
All I know is that like probably like some sort of fight or something happened. Like she lost it. Like she wasn't born that way, you know. I mean, she has a scar. Like she's been roughing it for many years, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I need to see that storyboard.
Yeah, because your mother is in the film, and I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to ruin it for you because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Very good technique.
No, it was very well done. It was very well done.
I have talked to Miss Casey about Sumi's background and such, and I like have a vibe of like what, like I have talked to her about like, I don't know what I can say because I don't know what's on storyboard, but I do know like her basic backstory. So maybe that is what's there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was basically how they told that what happened 10 years prior to when the film opens. And it was just so, I mean, it's like maybe a minute. It's very quick, but
Yeah,
it's so
but it
well done,
tells
and
a
it's
lot.
it's all you need to know in just that short amount of time.
Well,
Yeah,
Polaris
very
is
well
supposed
done.
to be 3 films. It's supposed to. Well, Polaris is the middle film, and then there will
Oh,
be a prequel and a sequel.
Are you going to be in those, or you
I
can't
have
say?
no idea what's going. I don't know if that'll even happen, but that's like the story.
Oh, okay.
Am in them, that'd be cool, but I don't think the story is built that way.
Okay.
well, okay. So you learned a gem of something on the episode we did with Casey. Now we're learning something we didn't know from our interview with Casey. That's fantastic. Oh, that's exciting to know. That's great. Well, we hope that somehow you could be attached to that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe
Maybe-
it'll be like American Horror Story. I'm like playing a different character, but I'm the same actor.
There you
Well,
go. Just come back reincarnated as the Christmas bear. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the
that's perfect.
sequel, you would be perfect because what happens to her? Well, we know what happens to her, but they could always tell a story in between.
I think the second film would mostly be centered around Frozen Girl and like where she's
Right.
coming from, how she's doing, and
Mhm.
beauty of the ending of Polaris is it's kind of morbid, but I found it kind of like Sumi, trigger warning, killed herself, kind
Yeah.
of.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
if you catch my drift.
Yes.
And I found that very beautiful, very poetic, in a messed up, weird way.
Yeah.
So I think she probably wouldn't be. Maybe there's a backstory where she's like in heaven with her mother.
Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting you said that. I had that thought. I'd watched the film again just earlier today, and that was going through my head when the ending came around. I was thinking that. Well, that's the beauty about film, right? Or art for that matter. Is where just the interpretation is up to the person that's watching it or reading it or looking at it or whatever medium it is. So yeah, that's interesting. Well, Viva, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to come on the podcast.
Can't wait to see your future films.
Right. And we've got to, hopefully you would agree to come back so we could talk about and promote all of your upcoming work. And
I would love to.
it's just been an absolute pleasure. Again, congratulations on Polaris and Bossy Bear. Let's not forget
Mhm.
Bossy Bear
I
too.
love working for Nickelodeon so much.
Oh,
I've always dreamed of working with Nickelodeon, and now that it's happened, like I'm like, it's so
It's a-
crazy.
it's
And
amazing.
And speaking on representation, I love how authentically Nickelodeon casts, and also the representation, like me being able to play a Korean character is incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're viewing this, watch Bossy Bear and
Right.
Polaris and everything I'm in.
All right. All right,
She
we-
is the actor icon and the moment.
You read that.
Yes. Miss Viva Lee, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, and I'd love to be brought back. Maybe. Hopefully.
Okay.
We'll see.
You got it.
Count on it.
Let's stay in touch for
All
sure.
right, Viva.
Thank you so much.
All right, Viva, take care.